John, do you think Travis's goal in the first period, right after they scored, that sort of set the tone because you got to go into the intermission feeling good about yourselves, came out with a real strong start in the second period?
It was an important goal. My thinking is we just want to get out of there without getting scored on. I think it's a play that needs to be stopped. We don't. But we answer right away, so you end up leaving the period with a lead anyway. So a lot of important situations throughout the game. That was one of them early.
And we've talked about Konecny's game, obviously deservedly so, a lot this season. Does it just seem like he's on another level right now during this streak?
I just think he's playing. He's a reactionary type player, and I've only seen him play from afar other than this year, before this year. He just plays. The puck finds him. He plays in the areas. Everything about his game is effort, and I think he's getting rewarded.
John, you've admitted coming into this job that you didn't know that much about a lot of the guys on the team, but Konecny is one of those guys where even just from the outside, I'm sure you saw him play, you paid attention to him to a degree. Did you think that he had this kind of scoring upside when you took this job?
Well, I didn't. I really didn't have many thoughts on anybody. But you could see right away, I saw the type of shape he was in camp. And I've watched him from afar. He's a pretty good player. I think what he's done here, and he's done a little extra work. I think Danny Briere had a little bit to do with him also. In talking to Danny, they sat down quite a bit as far as playing on the inside. He was on the outside a lot, and his stats weren't there where he wanted them to be. I think he put the time in. I think Danny, as a player, ex-player, helped him and showed him some stuff. But the most important thing, he puts a uniform on and he's got to run with it. I think he's done a really good job.
You talked about the importance of the morale boosters and the ways you can see the difference just like in their body language. How big was it to just get this first hat trick for the team and to have that type of fun?
Yeah, I don't think anybody, I think he wants to pass the puck to Lots. Lots just stopped skating, but I don't think anybody's really thinking about the hat trick. I think they're like I say, they're able to listen to the radio again. And I was talking to you guys, and you could hear them out in the rink during the pregame skate. It's a noisy group. When it's a noisy group, they feel good about themselves, and they should. All the browbeating and the negative vibe, and quite honestly, rightfully so, it can wear you down. I think when you're on a little bit of a run, you should feel good. You got to find ways to feel good about yourself, and they deserve it. Fine line now. Feel good, but make sure you stay not too far away from that line as far as what you're doing to get some results, and hopefully we can stay about it here.
You talked about building an identity, and you've always had that thought in your mind of what you can be. What you guys did in the first two periods, not much, a little bit there in the third period, is that the kind of identity that you're hoping they can play to on a nightly basis?
Yeah, I still think we're, we still have things to do. When you can call your team this, whatever that identity is, whatever word you want to use, that it needs to be consistent. And consistent isn't 2 weeks. Consistent, quite honestly, isn't regular season. Consistent is when you get to playoffs and you're doing it there. So, listen, I'm happy with some of the progression of the players. I think they're feeling really good offensively. I think they're allowing themselves to play offensively. We've lost a little stiffness defensively. I think we need to improve on. But they should, as I said, as each day goes by here and they get some results in this little pocket, hopefully they can rely on it when we get into a little bit of a jam. But you're not getting me to talk about who we are yet because we just haven't done it long enough.
John, on penalty kill, it's obvious with the chemistry when you're on an offensive rush on a penalty kill, but does that start in the defensive zone and having chemistry and trust?
It's a great read by Lots because the player's on his backhand at the blue line. When it's rimmed around the boards, player's on his backhand, that is a go. Shazi shows it all the time on the tape. He goes, and once he goes, everybody else goes. Provy makes a great read on the wall. Lots pinches the guy off, it comes down the wall, Provy gets the puck, and there we go on a 2-on-1. You know, they just, Lots of them seem to have some chemistry, but they end up scoring the goal. But it starts really with that defensive read and everybody moving together.
You talk about those reads. The team seems like it's really anticipates well when they're confident. Do you think that that's kind of a
Every athlete does. When things are, when you're getting some puck luck and you're getting some success, especially the offensive guys, it just seems to come easier to you. Yeah, so hopefully, you know, the key part of the National Hockey League is ride the wave as long as you can in momentum as far as how we're playing. There's going to be a time where we're getting kicked again, and we're going to try to stay away from it as long as we can. But when we do, how quickly you get out of that. That's the key in trying to get where you want to be after a regular season, is how long you can keep the momentum on your side, and when you lose it, how quickly you can get it back. We'll see what happens.
Going back to what you said a few minutes ago about it being a fine line of riding this high and not falling off of it, no one's expecting Travis Konecny to keep scoring, 2 points a night like he's been the last 10 games. But based on what you've seen, do you think he can keep this up the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think that he has a strong belief that he can make it happen. And there's some people that are helping him too. There's some people that are helping him, but no, I think he's full of confidence. The thing about TK, he screws up a lot, but it doesn't bother him. He just goes out and takes his next shift, and that's a huge attribute for a player. And like we took the video, what do you call, on the bench? I'm just lost my train. We took him off the bench. We don't have him on the bench anymore because I just want them worrying about the next shift. And I think it's a major problem with us understanding momentums of the game. You can't understand momentums of a game if you're looking at the iPad all the time. So we took him off. We're not even going to use him, so they watch the game and see what's next. TK does that within his game all the time. He's one of the ones that looks at that damn thing all the time. So I just think he's got the proper mindset that he's not afraid to make a mistake. Like, he makes a goofy play at the end of the power play, slapping the puck back to the blue line. We're up by a goal. They're going to go for a shorty, and he one-touches a puck, and it blows up on him, and it's almost a clearing pass. And it's the last thing we want done there. But I have to admit, he's not afraid to do that stuff, and I think that's the proper mindset. We need to curb him and teach him about situations, but I don't want him to lose that mindset.
John, can you talk a little bit about Owen Tippett? He's quietly on like a 25-goal pace, and the last few weeks he's really come on.
Well, we talked about Tip between the second and third period. He should have had 3 before the third period. And you can see he's just about to bust out. And not just the offensive part. He's been more consistently a power forward. Winning puck battles, carrying the puck along the boards, getting pucks in when he needs to, chasing them down. All the little things you do as a strength of a power forward. He makes a great play in the goal. He changes the angle so he can get that shot through the guy's legs, and that's a tough play for a goalie to have a shot come at that angle. How quickly he got it off. The goal scoring I think is going to be there. The other parts of the game is what I like. I've always felt that Tip has to identify himself as a power guy, not just a shooter. And I think most of the attributes of his game is power. That's very important.